Vaporwave is super cool. Old school raster racing games are super cool. Combine these two things and you get a super cool game called Slipstream. This game was developed and published in 2018 by an indie dev named Ansdor. Slipstream is a racing game that emulates the sprite scaling style of arcade racing games from the 80s and early 90s. This retro style is facilitated by something called Luz Pseudo 3D, which seems to be a game engine designed for these types of pseudo 3D games. It's a pretty interesting little engine, and I think it might be cool to try making a game with it. Slipstream offers us several different game modes: Grand Tour, Cannonball, Grand Prix, Single Race, Time Trial, and Battle Royale. Single Race and Time Trial are fairly standard and self-explanatory. Battle Royale is sort of an endurance mode where you outlast the other racers, and Cannonball lets you curate your own circuit of tracks to compete through. Grand Prix and Grand Tour are my favorites. A staple of the racing genre, Grand Prix has you race through a predetermined circuit with a points-based scoring system. In between the races, you can upgrade your vehicle with the prize money. There are 3 cups to win, with a secret 4th cup that unlocks some super cool new tracks. I like Grand Tour the best because at the end of each section, you get to choose if you want to go left or right. So the course structure is set up pretty much just like the classic Sega racing game, Outrun. That means there are 15 different sections that you can race through, and in each section, there's a rival racer for you to try and defeat. You have a choice of 5 different cars to drive, each with their own unique stats. The cars look really cool, and I really love the pixel art. Plus, you get a choice of different colors for each car, which is a nice touch. The actual gameplay feels really good, and the mechanics are easy to grasp. The titular Slipstream mechanic is just drafting. You simply drive behind another car and draft into their slipstream for a speed boost. The other main mechanic is drifting, and honestly it's probably more significant than the Slipstream mechanic. It's really easy to start a drift. All you have to do is release the accelerator, tap the brake, then re-engage the accelerator while turning. This feels really intuitive to perform, and it's very easy to get comfortable with quickly. The racing mechanics make it really easy to focus on the game and get into the zone.
In the fucking zone.
One little thing I found odd was the fact that it doesn't seem to matter how much or how little you rev your engine before the race starts. As in many other racing games, you can get a speed boost at the start of the race by keeping the needle just below the red line. This doesn't really hurt the game at all, I just found the absence noteworthy. Another minor thing I wanted to mention is the fact that all the other racers will pull ahead of you at the start of every race. This means that it's pretty important for you to try and ride their slipstream at the beginning of the race so that you can catch up faster. You will be able to catch up to them regardless, but the slipstream helps you out, especially if you are really trying to beat the rival in that section. This doesn't hurt the game either, but I did want to mention it. The different courses that you race through are well designed and present good and fair challenges. You can typically read the curves with enough time to engage a drift for an upcoming turn. And of course, memorizing the tracks will always help you, just like any other racing game. Visually speaking, the courses are all very diverse, and the art style of this game is awesome. It's super cool racing through the city environments, then moving on to the beach, or a cemetery, or an industrial zone. I love the retro style graphics with the vibrant colors and the 16-bit aesthetic. And speaking of aesthetic, did I mention that this game seems to be inspired by Vaporwave and Synthwave? Just take a look at some of these secret courses that you unlock through the Diamond Cup and Grand Prix. This one is clearly Synthwave Sonic the Hedgehog, with the rings and the emeralds and the wireframe. And this one looks like Macintosh Plus threw up all over Zach Morris's Trapper Keeper. I love it. Obviously, you'll hear these influences in the music as well, as this game is full of killer tracks that have that Vaporwave and Synthwave sound. The music is done by an artist called FORK, and they definitely did a great job with this soundtrack, because it adds so much to the presentation and overall enjoyment of this game. This game is presented very well. From the menus to the mechanics, the art to the audio, it all comes together nicely to create an enjoyable arcade experience. The game modes offer a lot to do, especially when supplemented by the 24 achievements, and the Grand Tour mode is very replayable. With the excellent retro graphic style and the amazing soundtrack, this is the kind of game that I find it really easy to get into. It's one of those games that you can just pick up and play and have fun without any complications. It might be easier for someone like me to get into a game like this since I grew up with racing games like this, but honestly I'm pretty sure anybody can find enjoyment with this game. If you want a game that offers that pure arcade racing feel in a very aesthetically pleasing package, then you can't go wrong with Slipstream. Thank you for watching this review. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up down below, comment, or subscribe. And until next time, you keep on playing those games. Hey, did you know that I made a video game? It's a science fiction game called K37D, and it's on Steam right now. You have to repair the computer systems of a facility on a distant planet while fighting off attacks from monstrous creatures. Please go ahead and check it out on Steam right now. Thank you.